Hi, this is Mike Biggie. I'm from Painesville, Ohio. We're up here on the north coast of the state of Ohio, here about 10 miles from the beautiful Lake Erie. I have my
Videographer.
thanks Chris, I can never pronounce that word. My videographer, Chris Holly from College Talk TV. You can check out his videos on YouTube. Anyways, what I'm here to talk to you about today is Larry Hall's modified hybrid grow system. We have looked at his system throughout the winter time, and we wanted ways to improve our whole garden system, and we figured out that we could take Larry Hall's system and implement it into our home garden. Well, let's talk about the rack that we use for our grow system here. What we did, we went to Home Depot and we bought four 4x4 wood treated fence posts, and we've got 4 bags of quick setting concrete. We needed a post leveler. We got some treated lumber for the crossbars of the rack system. Again, we bought 4 4x4 vinyl fence posts. We have 8 vinyl fence caps. We bought some vinyl glue, some silicone sealer. We got a 4-way tap adapter here to split the hoses to each individual fence post. We reused some old garden hose. We got 5-gallon grow bags in the system. We bought 4 Carrick mini float PVC valves, and they're the half-inch size. I got a bag of hose clamps, coffee filters, potty mix. We bought the Miracle-Gro stuff. 3-inch net cups, and some screws, and a couple of other items here. We'll go through where we applied all of that equipment. As you can tell, Larry Hall has recommended in his system using rain gutters. During the months of February and March, we actually did go out and buy, 4 10-foot rain gutters with all the associated 2x4s. We carefully built those things together as Larry Hall has described. I think it's a wonderful system, but when we actually started to apply the system onto our rack, we had some issues with it. One, it was hard to, with the 2x4s, to get them level, and 2, the end caps that are in the vinyl for the gutter system, it was hard to keep them from leaking. We tried the silicone seal, we tried the glue, we just could not get them to stop leaking. We also had issues of leaking where we put the float valves in. With the heavy hose that we're using in our system, they tended to leak also. So, well, I had my good friend here, Chuck Emler, who's a heck of an engineer, and we were sitting around talking about it, and we decided to, after he came up with a great idea, looking around my yard, he saw the fence posts that are connected to my little fence around my barn back in the yard here, and he goes, Mike, why don't we go with using those vinyl fence posts? And I said, you know what, that's a heck of an idea. Well, they come already made, they're already level, and they're very, very self-contained. All we have to do is put the end caps on them, find flat end caps, which was difficult to do, by the way. We never found truly flat ones, but we did find close to being flat end caps, and we took those and we decided to we scrapped the original rain gutter system, and we took these and started to build the system based upon vinyl fence posts. Well, as you can tell here, this is Chris Holly from College Talk TV, who also happens to be my daughter's longtime boyfriend. He's going to show you the differences between our buckets here. Chris, go ahead and pick up one of the blue ones. As you can tell, this bucket here is not anything special. It's a dollar store bucket here. We tried to put some holes in it to do the air pruning concept, but the actual bucket itself was too thin to handle the hole saw. So we opted to just forget about the air pruning with our pepper plants. As you can tell, there was a net cup on the bottom of that, and the difference, we also made a little bit of a change from Larry's system. What we did with our net cups, we actually put a coffee filter, and then we stuck the potting mix into the net cup. So I felt it was another way to keep you know, the potting mix out of the rain gutters itself, and hopefully reduce our algae look on the inside of those 4x4 fence posts. The next bucket is your standard Home Depot Homer bucket. As you can tell, they could easily handle the fence, the hole saw. You know, it was a little bit of strain on my wrist when I was doing it, but we got it done. It took a little while. You know, again, you do this in, you know, in advance of the good weather here. You can do this during the winter. And with the net cup itself, we also sealed it with silicone sealer, and I took some duct tape and held those cups in place while they were the silicone sealer was drying. It also provides a little bit more stability for the buckets. So we filled the buckets with our standard Miracle Grow water crystal mix, but we did enhance the soil with some additional enhancements like Epsom salt, calcium nitrate, and we threw in some worm casings and stuff like that to give a little bit more push to the plants here. So as you can tell, they're extremely green, extremely healthy, and they're all doing very, very well. Well, the next part of the system we wanted to show you here is that we have the 4 splitter system here. The reason I went with the splitter system is that it gives me the opportunity to work on individual systems independently, or I can keep them all going at the same time. Gives me a little bit more flexibility. You know, you have an on and off valve overall, on and off valve here to your right of the system. I have another splitter valve. So what I use that for, of course, is gives me an opportunity to have holes for the rest of my raised beds in the garden. As you can tell, down there in the fence post itself, there's that water valve right there. It's a 1/2 inch, and despite my best wishes, I still got a lot of algae inside those units. But I'm working on an idea, and I want to talk to somebody. I have a pool here, so I do have algicide available to me, but I don't want to put that in unless I know it's going to affect my plants for better or for worse. I figure if it's in the water, it shouldn't affect you, but how much do you put in one of these small rain gutters to try to keep that algae down? I haven't figured that out yet. As you can also tell, that the holes there, I just took some old garden hose. It was Craftsman garden hose that was cut by my lawnmower, and I repurposed it, and I used the clamps on there, and they're all solidly put in. I got seals on the float valves. Everything's sealed up, nothing's leaky. As you can also tell around the fence post itself, I got silicone sealer all the way around it. Inside I use the vinyl glue to seal it, and so far I don't have any leaks. Everything looks pretty good. Well, we're trying to be scientists here also with this system. At the very same time we planted our tomato plants and our pepper plants into the buckets, we also planted tomato plants and pepper plants into the traditional raised beds. Now, just from an observation piece here, the tomato plants in the raised bed are shorter, and they are not as brightly green and full as the ones in the gutter system. And so the gutter system, I think, is in an enhanced way to grow your plants here for your vegetables in your garden system here. So far, anyways, here on June 10th, what we're seeing is that the hybrid grow system is doing better than the traditional raised bed. On another note here, I also saw some videos on topping your pepper plants for higher yield. Well, we're testing it out this year. We've topped roughly about 4 of our buckets, and we topped a couple more in the actual raised bed. As you can see, we're zeroed in on this one particular pepper plant, which happens to be your standard bell pepper. And the idea is that the rootstock will grow very heavy, and then they'll produce additional growth that'll give us much more yield at the end of the year. We'll have an update on that later in the season here. It's just like we're going to have an update on the actual yield compared to the ones in the raised beds. Okay, another point with this current system here, if you can notice right in the middle of the vinyl gutters, I got some sag going on there, so I'm going to have to prop that up and get that more a little bit more level there. So I'm going to put a brace in there and get that to a point where the whole gutter's level. I hope with the heat of the summer here, those things aren't permanently bent now. That would be a kind of a pain in the butt, but this is something that we're trying to figure out here. So I also want to point out my videographer Chris got me my my guardian owl over there. Of course, we named him Hoot, and he keeps a mean eye on the critters. I don't think he's doing a very good job because something's eating my bean plants in that one raised bed right there. So
wait, where?
In the middle of the raised bed, you can zero in on those bean plants. You can see something's trimming those things off, and we got the rabbit fence around the thing, but something's eating them. Got to figure it out. And my friend there, Hoot, is not doing a very good job here with my bean plants, but everything else seems to be thriving very well. The last point I want to make here, now you can also see the tomato plants as compared to the ones in the raised bed. The tomato plants in the buckets are much more robust.
You plant them at the same time too.
So I mean, they're just striking. You can see really the difference here. And again, those are my control plants over there on the right, and you can see that the ones in the buckets are just leaps and bounds from color, from height, doing better than the ones in the raised beds. Well, there you have it. Taking Mr. Larry Hall from Brandon, Minnesota system. We've changed it up a little bit here, and we're going to see how it goes for the rest of the season. We'll give you an update video here in a few weeks and let you know how things are going. Again, this is Mike Nagy and my videographer from College Talk TV. Here, Chris Holly. We are signing off.
Peace.